Good afternoon, students. Today we'll see what are the conservation measures for biodiversity. In this, there are two types of conservation: in situ and ex situ. What is meant by in situ conservation and ex situ conservation? Conservation means it is a protection, preservation, and management of the or restoration of the wildlife and natural resources such as forest and its water through the conservation of biodiversity and survival of many species and habitat which are threatened due to human activities can be ensured. There is an urgent need to manage and conserve this biotic world, but also there is a need to restore this degraded ecosystem. So, we people have been directly or indirectly dependent on this biodiversity for our sustenance to a considerable extent. There is an increase, already we have discussed, there is increase in population pressure and development activity that have led to large destruction and duplication of this natural resources. Here in conservation and protection, preservation, management of restoration of this wildlife and natural resources such as forest, we have we have these two types of conservation methods have been used. In situ conservation. Here you can see in this slide, in situ conservation, there are different types of in situ conservation and ex situ conservation. We will start with ex situ conservation. Ex situ conservation means ex situ off-site or out of place. It is a type of conservation which is off-site. It is a set of conservation technique that involves the transfer of a species, means target species away from its native habitat. Means it is removed from the forest. It is bred in captivity or in this in animals. It is bred in captivity, natural reserves or zoos, and for plant species with the help of botanical gardens, we conserve these species. Such as zoological gardens are there, botanical gardens are there, seed banks are there. It is the primary objective to support conservation by ensuring the survival of this threatened species and maintain and maintenance of this associated genetic diversity. To do so, like ex situ institution preserve this genetic and or reproductive material of the target species or take care of the living target species for the purpose of reintroduction in the wild. It is in simplified form. It is a concept likened by it is a concept like Noah's Ark. You have heard about that Noah's Ark, where species are maintained in safety until the factor of threatening to their existence are gone, and they can be reintroduced later successfully in the wild. The technique for extensive conservation, there are variety of techniques like type of material to be preserved. Example, pollens, whole plant, seeds, etc. Ex situ collections of plant are established by storing seeds, conserving pollen through the storage of plant shoots in condition of slow or suspended growth, like in vitro conversions, conservations. Ex situ techniques applicable to animal population also include like storage of embryos, ovules, DNA, etc. Like there are many establishment of genetic banks and livestock parks uh, which use these ex situ techniques. They also use captivity breeding and all for this ex situ conservation. Ex situ techniques are implemented and they are well defined to safeguard the population of individuals that are in danger of a physical destruction when protection in situ is not possible. It also safeguards the genetic deterioration of that species. It also ensures the continuity and reproductive material for either creating a source through storage. It also allows like breeding activity and supply of genetic improved reproductive material from these stocks. There are many ex-situ institutions there which contribute to this. There are many gene banks which use this conservation techniques for seeds, pollens. They use also this holistic approach for these given types. There are like many advantage of ex-situ conservation also. We'll discuss it in further topic. Like in India, there are many ex-situ and conservation sites are there. Like we were discussing like what seed banks and all. Seed banks are like they are the these are the cold storage units where the seeds are kept under controlled temperature and humidity for the storage of the germplasm of plants. Seeds are preserved under controlled conditions like minimum temperature like minus 180 are maintained for to conserve the seeds and germplasm of various species. Gene banks are there. The genetic variability also is preserved by gene bank under normal growing conditions. These are cold storage where germplasm are kept under controlled temperature and humidity for storage. There is an important way of preserving like this genetic material. Cryopreservation, like we earlier discussed, this is a new technique used for conservation. The lowest temperature is 190 minus 196 degrees Celsius. The material is stored in liquid nitrogen. The metabolic activities of this organism or the sample or tissue that has been stored, it is suspended due to this lower temperature. Tissue culture banks has been formed using various different meristematic material. This long-term culture of excise roots or shoots are maintained in this meristem culture. It is very popular in plant propagation also to ensure a disease-free plants. Another methods are like botanical gardens. Botanical gardens is a place where these species have been preserved. The most of them have started keeping like exotic plants for education and research purpose in these botanical gardens. Like there are many advantages of this ex-situ conservation. They are useful in preserving the declining population of species, endangered and threatened animals and plants which are near to verge of extinction can be successfully bred in this type of preservation. Certain species are bred in these types of captivity and later they are released in natural habitat. Another part that we will study is the in situ conservation. In situ conservation is the on-site type of conservation or the conservation of genetic resource in the natural habitat, natural population of plants or animals, such as forest genetic resource is a natural population for tree species. The process of protecting an endangered species and in its natural habitat, either by protecting or cleaning up the habitat itself, or by defending the species from predators and other threats. It is applied to conservation of also agriculture biodiversity, agroforestry by farmers, especially of those unconventional farming practices. In situ is being done by declaring areas and protected areas. In India, like following, there are many natural habitats that have been maintained. Then national parks, wildlife sanctuaries, biosphere reserves. In India, there are more than 600 protected areas that includes 900 national parks, over 500 animal sanctuaries, and about 15 bioreserves. National parks is an area in which is strictly reserved for the betterment of the wildlife, where activities like forestry, grazing, cultivation, and are not permitted. In these parks, even private ownership rights are not allowed. They are totally bound to preservation of this wildlife. They have well-marked boundaries. Usually, there are small reserves spreading in an area of thousands kilometers to 5,000 square kilometers. In national park, the emphasis in the preservation of single plant or animals is given in majority. Like we have some of the national parks in India, like Corbett National Parks, there that is in Uttarakhand, Dudhwa that is in Uttar Pradesh, Gir National Park that is in Gujarat, Kana that is in Madhya Pradesh, uh, like Kaziranga that is for the Indian rhinoceros that is in Assam, Nanda Devi National Park in Uttarakhand, Sariska National Park that was in latest in the media for the tiger conservation all that is in Rajasthan, Silent Valley National Park that is in Kerala, Sundarban that is in West Bengal. It is famous for tigers and mangrove tree species that are majority found in this area of Sundarbans. The wildlife sanctuaries. Sanctuaries means there is a protected area which reserved for conservation of only animals, and human activities like harvesting of timber, collecting minor forest product, private ownerships are allowed as long as they do not interfere with the well-being of animals. Boundaries of the sanctuary are not well defined, and controlled biotic interference is permitted. Example, tourist activities and all, they are permitted in this wildlife sanctuaries. There are many wildlife sanctuaries in India, like Ghana Wildlife Sanctuary, Rajasthan, Hazaribagh Wildlife Sanctuary, Madhumalai Wildlife Sanctuary, that is in Tamil Nadu, Mount Abu Wildlife Sanctuary, that is in Rajasthan, Annamalai, you have heard about this wildlife sanctuary, that is in Tamil Nadu. Another type of that is biosphere reserve. It is a special category of protected area where human population also forms a part of the system. There are largely protected area. Usually, there are more than 5,000 square kilometers. A biosphere reserve has three parts: core, buffer, and transition zone. A core zone is the inner zone that is undisturbed and legally protected area. The buffer zone lies between the core and the transition zone. Some research and educational activity are permitted in this area, that is mean buffer zone. Transitional zone is the outermost part of this biosphere reserve. Here cropping, forestry, recreation, fishery and other activities are allowed to the native people that are living in this area. The major functions of the biodiversity reserves are conservation, to conserve the ecosystem, species and genetic resource development means it also acts for development of economic development, where maintaining cultural, social and ecological identity of that area. Scientific research is also called carried out in this type of research that supports the educational, local and national global issues. There are many, some of these reserves in India are Nanda Devi, Gulf of Manar in Tamil Nadu, Andaman Nicobar Islands, Panchamari, that is in Madhya Pradesh. Uh, in situ conservation, they maintain the flora and fauna live in the natural habitat without human interference. They also maintain the life cycle of an organism and their evolution process in a natural way. In situ conservation also provides the required green cover and its associated benefit to the environment. It is less expensive and it is easy to maintain. Uh, the interest of the indigenous people are also protected that lives around these areas. Okay, like we have today, we have seen this in situ and ex situ conservation. Previously, we had studied the threatened biodiversity types. What are I will provide you the notes. I'll give the PDF and Word files on this Google Classroom. You refer it later. We'll stop here and we'll continue in the next lecture.